Boom. Ladies and gentlemen, the youngest champion in UFC history. I'm talking about the youngest ever champion in UFC history. Jon Jones is going toe to toe with former title contender, heavyweight title contender in Ciryl Gane. Ladies and gentlemen, for UFC 285. Oh my goodness, this is going to be just absolutely sensational. Absolutely sensational for a myriad of reasons, for an array of reasons. One of the reasons why that is it's going to be sensational is the fact that Jon Jones had been away for 3 years. So what effectively happened was back in 2019, after his fight against Dominic Reyes, out of nowhere he just relinquished his belt and he wasn't willing to fight anymore. So it's like, you know what, I'm done. I'm done with the UFC. Left for 3 years and he's back again. But the weird thing this time around is the fact that he's back, but he's not fighting at light heavyweight, but he's actually fighting at heavyweight. Think about that, ladies and gentlemen. Heavyweight. This is going to be incredible, honestly. Ciryl Gane, obviously, as I've mentioned, he is a former title contender to his own right, obviously a former title contender, and he faced the then heavyweight champion of the world in Francis Ngannou. And the reason why this fight is happening in the first place is the fact that Francis Ngannou relinquished his title because of the obviously issues that he had with the UFC with regards to pay. And now we've got a title fight between the greatest, or arguably one of the greatest light heavyweights of all time, if not one of the greatest UFC fighters or mixed martial arts fighters of all time, Jon Jones, going toe to toe with Ciryl Gane, honestly, ladies and gentlemen. So let's break this fight down fundamentally. Jon Jones, to his own right, is an absolute legend. I mean, we're talking about the guy who won the title against Mauricio Shogun Rua back in 2011. And weirdly enough, what he did in that fight was that he started that fight with a flying knee. 23 years old, first title contention, and a title fight that he wasn't even meant to have, but someone pulled out. So they gave him a title shot because he was the only option. Came in, fought a very experienced fighter in Mauricio Shogun Rua, and guess how he started the fight? With a flying knee. So the level of confidence he had, and then he proceeded on to defend that title numerous times. They are defended against the likes of Rashad Evans, the likes of Quinton Rampage Jackson, defended the title against Lyoto Machida, Vitor Belfort. We're talking about the likes of Alexander Gustafsson, Glover Teixeira. The list just goes on, right? So definitely he's one of the greatest of all time. And now his opponent in Ciryl Gane could literally be the first ever French champion in UFC history. We've never seen one before, so he could potentially be the one. I mean, he had his opportunity against Francis Ngannou, and he blew it, but he's getting another chance against Jon Jones this time round. And obviously, a lot of people, what people effectively doing is they're trying to make this fight sort of like a grappler versus a striker kind of fight. And I can understand, why that is the case, to be honest, because Ciryl Gane, I mean, he's a heavyweight, but when it comes to his striking is sharp, it's crisp. Is literally one of the best, or if not the best, in the heavyweight division, and he's got serious power. He's demonstrated that serious power just recently against a knockout artist in Tai Bam Bam Tuivasa in the first ever UFC card in France, when obviously MMA got legalized in France, honestly. And he finished Tai Tuivasa. He finished the likes of Derek Lewis. So he ain't no joke. So in the striking department, obviously, fundamentally, I would, regardless of what anyone says, I would definitely go with Ciryl Gane in having the advantage in the striking department over Jon Jones, because he's a better striker. He's faster. His footwork is incredible. His combinations and the fact that he can hit you and he's out. Do you know what I mean? And Jon Jones probably would even fight a quicker fighter than Ciryl Gane. And we've sort of seen, apart from, obviously, one of the biggest challenges Jon Jones had when he was a UFC light heavyweight champion was a fight against Alexander Gustafsson, right? What was Alexander Gustafsson? He was an incredible striker. He was a better boxer than Jon Jones was. And the fight obviously went to decision, and Gustafsson lost the fight against Jon Jones. But again, a great striker in Gustafsson was the person that gave Jon Jones trouble. Thiago Santos, the likes of Dominic Reyes, these incredible strikers, and they gave Jon Jones real trouble. So going into this fight, I think Gane's striking is going to be incredible. So the only chance in heaven that Jon Jones has in this fight is using wrestling to his advantage, because there's no chance in hell that Jon Jones will be able to beat Gane in a striking matchup. If they stand toe to toe and kickboxing, but in an MMA in the octagon, so like an octagon context, there's no chance Jon Jones is going to beat him. So I think when it comes to well-roundedness, when it comes to not only striking but grappling and all of that, obviously Jon Jones will have the advantage in that sense, because he's just the greatest, or one of the greatest mixed martial arts fighters of all time. But when it comes to purely kickboxing, remember Gane is a highly decorated world-class Muay Thai fighter who transcended that Muay Thai skills into MMA, and he's one of the best in the octagon right now. So definitely in the striking department, Jones doesn't stand a chance. And if that fight becomes a striking matchup, we might actually see Jon Jones get knocked out for the first time in UFC history or in his professional mixed martial arts career. On the other hand, though, one of the disadvantages, obviously, that Ciryl Gane has going into this fight, obviously, is poor takedown defense. The fight that he had with Francis Ngannou, we've all seen, right? He started the fight really well. The first round, he totally dominated Francis Ngannou with his striking, sharp, with his movements. His striking was just absolutely fantastic. His combinations, his footwork was top class. But then what happened was Francis Ngannou obviously couldn't deal with his striking, so Francis Ngannou resorted to something that we've never seen him do in the octagon, which is wrestling. And he resorted to that wrestling against Gane and was effective, and he was successful, and that's how he actually won the fight against Gane. And Gane is obviously someone we consider as being a knockout artist, that he would be willing to stand and trade punches, but he couldn't. I mean, Gane was just hitting him and he's out. He just one, two combinations, just mix them up quickly, and before you get the opportunity to counter him, he's out the equation. Out of the equation. So Jon Jones is not quick enough. And the weird thing is Jon Jones is fighting a quicker fighter, and not only is he fighting a quicker fighter, but Jon Jones is actually going up to heavyweight. So he's gonna be weighing a lot more now than he's ever weighed in any fight he's ever had. Obviously he's a former light heavyweight, so that's 205 pounds. So yes, he's gonna be in a lot of trouble if he doesn't take the fight to the ground and as fast as possible. If he's trying to stay there, trying to feel Gane, that might actually cost him his consciousness. So overall, my prediction is that I think the fight could go two ways, to be honest. So there's no one sort of like objective analysis to it, which is that, oh, this person is going to win. No, I think there's two ways in which that fight could go. And it's going to depend on uh, who dictates what happens in the fight. If Jon Jones dictates that the fight is going to go to the ground and he makes it a wrestling bout, just like Francis Ngannou did against Ciryl Gane in their title fight, then Jon Jones, without a doubt, is going to win that fight. But if he tries to stay in the octagon and tries to, strike with Gane, showing his striking skills and all of that, he doesn't stand a chance, as I've mentioned. Gane is an incredible striker, but also what this fight can also depend on is the version of Jon Jones that turns up at UFC 285. The version will make a significant difference. Because think about this, ladies and gentlemen. Jon Jones's last three fights were embarrassingly shocking, to be honest. Though he won all those fights by decision, some of them by split decision or unanimous decision. Unanimous decision against Anthony Smith, and split decision against Thiago Maheta Santos and Dominic Reyes, right? A lot of these fights were close. So his past three fights were decision fights. You know what I mean? And some people would argue that the other fighter won, and it was effectively boring. So if that version of Jon Jones shows up, the version that fought Thiago Santos, Anthony Smith, and Dominic Reyes, Jones doesn't stand a chance against Ciryl Gane. With the version of Jon Jones who won the light heavyweight title at the age of 23, then went on to choke out Lyoto Machida, defeating the likes of Quentin Rampage Jackson, the likes of Daniel Cormier, not once but twice, defeating Glover Teixeira, defeating Alexander Gustafsson not once but twice, then Jon Jones will have a huge chance in becoming not only a former light heavyweight champion, but becoming the new undisputed heavyweight champion of the world if he could bring that version in. So, ladies and gentlemen, my prediction is that I believe Ciryl Gane will defeat Jon Jones. I think this is probably going to be Jon Jones' last fight. To be honest, in the UFC, I think the heavyweight division is a completely different division to any division in the UFC, to be honest. It's different. It's about knockouts. And when was the last time Jon Jones knocked out any fighter? You can't remember. I can't remember. The last time he probably knocked anyone out, to be honest, I'm thinking. You see, I'm struggling to think. Anyways, I mean, he TKO'd Alexander Gustafsson in UFC 232. That's all I could remember, to be honest. But apart from that, he is finishing. I mean, he finished the likes of Chael Sonnen, but apart from his finishing in the UFC, there's not much. I mean, head kick against Daniel Cormier, possibly you could say that. But yes, ladies and gentlemen, obviously, my prediction is that Gane is going to beat Jon Jones. As much as I'm supporting Jon Jones, I'm hoping that he wins. But I'm trying to use logic. I'm trying to use, not only my own logic, but I'm trying to use my understanding of mixed martial arts, and then I'm making an analysis based on that. And I believe, based on my own analysis, based on what I've seen of Jon Jones in his past 3 fights or 4 fights, and what I've seen of Ciryl Gane, and the fact that Jon Jones is going up to heavyweight, a division that he's never fought before, I think he's at a significant disadvantage, and I think that might cost him his consciousness, ladies and gentlemen. So make sure to smash the like button down below, comment, and subscribe if your notification bell's turned on. And obviously, we'll start to be a little bit more consistent, to be honest, because it's something that I've promised for ages. You know what I mean? But let's make it happen, ladies and gentlemen. Smash the like button down below, comment and subscribe, and also give your perspective in relation to this fight, because it's going to be a big event. It's not just the main event, but the co-main event, Valentina Shevchenko, undisputed women's flyweight champion of the world, versus the lady from Guadalajara, Jalisco, Mexico, Alexa Grasso, ladies and gentlemen. And we've got great bouts, the UFC 285 main card, and even the prelims and like the early prelims as well, ladies and gentlemen. It's going to be incredible. So peace.